Welcome to today's video, and today I'm continuing my lifetime transformation series. This is chapter number 5, Germany. So in the lifetime transformation series, I'm talking about my fitness transformation throughout life, and I'm sharing my experiences and the main mistakes that I did make, so you can also learn a thing or two. So if you are new here, I recommend to start with chapter number 1. I will link here a card. Chapter number 4, I finished with this physique after graduating from university and getting my bachelor's degree. And this will be chapter number 5, Germany, and I have to split it in 3 separate chapters because I did spend in Germany 5.5 years. It will be a very long time, and this is sub-chapter number 1, dirty bulking. So the chapter dirty bulking will cover the years 2014 to 2015, when I was from 22 to 24 years old. So after graduating university, I was weighing 77 kilograms in the pictures that I did show you. So I was in a very lean condition. I did reach single-digit body fat levels, but I didn't have a lot of muscle mass on me, so I didn't look impressive. And the trajectory for the upcoming years was very clear. I have to bulk. After getting my bachelor's degree, the next weekend I have already departed to Germany. So at that time I did buy my first car, and I didn't want to go to Germany. I wanted to spend like 1 year taking time off, thinking about my future, what I should do in life. But then I got this job offer in Germany from a relative, so I would already be set in a warm position. It's not like I'm packing my bags and going to nowhere. They were awaiting me. They had a small apartment prepared for me so I could rent here, and I did pack all my stuff, all my belongings into the car, and I drive to the port of Lithuania, and with the ferry I departed to Germany, and it was quite the experience driving there. So this is my first time driving alone in a foreign country with the ferry, so I was sleeping there in a sleeping bag on the ground because I wanted to save some money and not get an expensive room. Then I arrived late at the evening. I was driving through the autobahn and it was dark, it was raining, it was a foreign country. I was hanging my GPS, so it was quite the experience getting there. But then I arrived, and I did take this picture right here to mark my arrival to Germany, and this is how I looked in the apartment. And as you can see, it was quite a rough apartment. The walls were not painted, the bed was of steel metal. There was a small window, so I did think it looks kind of like a prison cell, but after I have decorated it a bit, it did look better for sure. Compared to my previous apartment in the student days, I think this was of course better. Just the first impression was kind of strange. As you did see from the picture, the trajectory is very clear. I have the bulk, I'm way too skinny, I don't have enough muscle mass on my frame. So when I'm not posing after a workout in a good angle, in a good lighting, I'm not looking that good in reality. So I signed up to a gym membership. Here I did take a picture with my gym bag in the gym, in the locker room, and I will go to this gym for the next ongoing 5.5 years. And it was a small village where I was living in, so there were no other gyms around at that time, and the price was crazy. I did pay like 62, 64 euros a month, when compared the bigger gyms in the cities did cost only about 20 euros. But I didn't have a choice, I had to pay it because there were no other alternatives available. And I did film here the first training footage in the gym, and you can already see my exercise selection. And also I will not talk about the form here because it's obvious. Most of the time it was not good. So as you will see from the very beginning, I did film here a lot of squat footage. So I really wanted to perfect my squat technique, but it didn't go my way. I snapped up my lower back numerous times at the beginning, like 5 or 6 times, until I completely ditched this exercise. But this is a topic for another video. I will make it sooner or later about the squat technique that I'm using now. So I did make few key major mistakes, and they are very subtle, but if you are making them, you will snap up your lower back most of the time. Then for example, for the back I did pull-ups, after that some cable rows, and I also did experiment with bent over rows. So I was still following YouTube fitness, and as you can see, I had this big mover mindset. So I'm training in the gym environment, I have all the machines available, all the equipment, I'm not training in my home gym anymore, but still I want to try to do the bent over rows, because that was the agenda at that time of YouTube Fitness. You have to stick to free weights, you have to stick to barbells, compound lifts. Anything else, you are just a tiny wimp. Then I did a flat barbell bench and the incline bench for the chest. After that I transitioned to weighted pull-ups, so I was putting there a dumbbell between my legs because I was getting a little bit stronger on them. And for the arms I did some row pushdowns for the triceps and some easy bar curls for the biceps. So I'm not proud of my exercise selection at all compared to the home gym environment when I was training, and now in the commercial gym. I had all the machines, all the equipment available, but I was sticking to this minimalistic approach, and I was thinking if you are doing it on the machines, for example, even doing the lat pull down, then you will be considered, let's say, soft. But yeah, that was the influence of the content that I was watching at that time. So I had a very rough start in Germany. I was working full time and I couldn't find my position in the company. So I was moved from one place to the other place. At time I had to perform also some manual labor. So for example, I was working the first shift in the morning. So I was waking up at 5 a.m. and getting ready to work. After that, sometimes I had to work the second shift. So I was all over the place, and then I thought to myself, what the hell I am doing here? I did graduate university. I was living in the capital of Lithuania. It had like 300,000 or 400,000 inhabitants at that time. And now I'm living here in Germany in a small village where there's only 500 people in the village, and I have to drive to the commercial gym. The nearest nightclub is an hour away. I have to drive to the grocery store to get groceries. So I did think I made a major mistake here. So I was on the verge of quitting over the 3 months probation period that you have, because I couldn't find my position in the company, and it was difficult to find the position in the company. All the other guys were way older than me. I was only 22 years old, but the other guys, for example, were like 30, 40, 50 years old, in that range. So I was one of the youngest there. For reference sake, my native language is Lithuanian. Then my first foreign language is German. My second foreign language is English, and my third foreign language is Russian. So I can speak way better German than I can speak English. And it will be ironically, I did learn Russian when I was living abroad in Germany. So yeah, that's how life turns sometimes. But since I was living in a small community, small village, it was a very strange dialect that they did use. So I had to adapt over a couple of months until I could understand everything fully. So after a couple of months, I did take this abs picture in my home. I was still very focused on being lean, having the six-pack, not losing it. That was the influence of the aesthetic era, you could say. After the 3 months did pass by, I did return to Lithuania for a vacation. So here I did film a physique in the gym that I was going from time to time, and as you can see, maybe I did put on some muscle mass, also a little bit of fat, but still I think the bulk was under control. And I finally started to find my position in the company, so I would continue working there and also living in Germany. Then at the end of the year 2014, I did film more training footage, and here again you can see the exercise selection. For example, I did continue to progress on the bench press. Then I did here also some weird exercises like the incline dumbbell curl, and then standing up and transitioning into a standing curl. Then for the triceps, once again, the row pushdowns. And I did perform here some dumbbell shrugs and dumbbell lateral raises. Point I have of a year did pass by, and now we have the year 2015. So here I was already 23 years old, and I have once again some training footage. So for the back I was once again doing pull-ups, cable rows, also a dumbbell row. Then I did the incline bench for the chest, incline curl for the biceps, row pushdown for the triceps, some shrugs. I experimented with face pulls. For the legs I did the reverse lunge, and also I experimented here with front squats. So I did try everything with squatting. I tried the low bar, the high bar, the front squat, the goblet squat, squatting with shoes, squatting barefoot, various stances, but nothing helped. I snapped up my lower back over and over again because I did do a couple of fundamental mistakes. Then at about the middle of the year, I did take some pictures of my physique. So as you can see, I am gaining a little bit of size, but also the body fat starts to creep up a bit. So this is about 1 year in Germany. And then at the end of the year, 2015, when I was 24 years old, I reached my peak bulk physique. So here are a couple shots of the physique, how I was looking like. This was, by the way, in another gym when I was in Lithuania visiting. So I did here my top bench press with 80 kilograms for reps. And as you can see, I did really bulk up. Then I did some chin-ups, lat pull down, dumbbell rows, and for the legs, the Bulgarian split squat, and also some straight bar curls for the biceps. And here I was weighing 95 kilograms. So 1.5 years did pass by, and I started with 77 kilograms after arriving in Germany, and now I'm weighing 95 kilograms. So that's 18 kilograms gain, and it's a lot. If I calculate it over a monthly basis, it would be equal to 1 kilogram per month. So that would be 2 pounds. If you consider that I was starting that lean, I wouldn't say it was too much. At the beginning, it's okay. You can gain that much, but then it should taper down. But the problem was I was dirty bulking. Hence the title of the whole sub-chapter is dirty bulking. I was tracking calories with my fitness pal, but then I had these periods of eating out. So since I was new to Germany, I had various meetings with clients, with suppliers, for example, at lunch. And then I tried to build a social life. So I had from time to time also dinner, and I didn't control the eating out part of it. So earlier in the day, for example, I did consume meal number 1, meal number 2, and I had a little bit of calories left for dinner, and then I was invited to dinner, and I did go way overboard with the calories, and I had huge spikes in my weight. So on paper you see 2 pounds per month should be alright, but the reality was I was not gaining the body weight bit by bit. I did, for example, maintain my weight or gained a little bit, and then I had huge spikes up, then maintaining for a bit, up in these eating out periods. So I was not being consistent there, and I didn't know how to control myself when eating out, how to structure it properly so I would not go overboard with it. But I did go overboard with it, and the peak bulk was achieved in only 1.5 years time. And ideally, when I did see my physique starting out, the proper bulk length would be here something around 3 years, and it should be more controlled. So at the beginning, yes, you can gain like 2 pounds per month, but then it should taper off to like 1 pound per month and not having these huge spikes after eating out. So it must be a steady, slow process over time. So this was the major mistake that I did make. Yeah, the end physique is bulky. I did put on some muscle mass for sure. I was looking bigger now, but I could have prolonged the bulk period way longer. And looking at my training, I didn't get everything from the bulk. Majority of the time in Germany, for the first like 3 or even 4 years, I was on the Lyle McDonald's generic bulking program. So I did make a video about it in depth. I will link here a card so you can watch it. And there I am outlining the major pitfalls that you can make on this program. And I did make all of them, of course. So my bulk was also not productive in terms of putting on muscle mass. So at the end of the day, I didn't put on enough muscle mass, and I did put on too lot of body fat. So it's not a productive bulk, hence why I did call this chapter dirty bulk. As I did mention, the exercise selection was not on point. When training in a commercial gym environment on a consistent basis, I could have selected the exercises way better and focus more on hypertrophy training and not having this big mover mindset. So overall, the chapter, it was a rough start for sure. I was living in a small village, so there was no internet connection over a cable. It was all wireless, so it was very expensive. I had to pay like 100 euros per month, and I had only like 10 gigabytes of data. So I was very limited in the content that I could follow because I would use the data up very fast. So I didn't explore new channels. I did stick to the same channels for majority of the time. And this is also not good, because when you are closed down in the small circle, you don't see what is going around you, and maybe you can then find better information, and then you are stuck in this bubble and you don't realize yourself that you are stuck there because you are not exposed to outside information. So the peak bulk was achieved in this chapter, and then I will talk about sub-chapter 2 and 3 where everything went downhill. So if I'm looking at Germany as a whole, this chapter is alright in terms of my physique. Some mistakes were made, but it's still acceptable. But what will follow next, I don't even want to make these videos. But I have to make them. I have to share my experiences, so maybe you can avoid the pitfalls that I did face. So I will link here a complete playlist if you want to watch all the lifetime transformation in order. And I will see you soon next time. Bye.